Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. I'm Tahir Dhindsa and you're watching SDTV. Obviously, there are other needs. Need number one is food. But wash is second to none. If you ask women in disaster prone areas sometime after the disaster, when we go there, they'd say that the wash is number one, even before food. So that is very important. Now it has been discovered that if you don't maintain cleanliness and don't have the proper hygiene, or the toilet facilities are not good, it has a big impact on economic development, on the budget of health, and the disease profile, and the national health, and so on and so forth. In Pakistan, still it's very poor. And if you go to the rural areas, especially, open defecation and going to the field is still very prevalent. And there's a cultural sort of audacity that goes on. We have today with us a very important guest who knows the rural area personally, and she's working in rural area. She's working with women and in Pothohar and other region. She had been on the Commission for the Status of Women as a member. She's a syndicate member of the Chakwal University, and she's running her own setup in the same area. And I must say she's a very important, eminent, formal journalist as well. In those days when journalism had some bite. Sameena Nazir, very warm welcome.
Thank you.
Say something on what I have just said, and then we'll rumble on as a basic premise.
Well, you've touched many important areas. I'll start by saying that I'm very happy to be here. SDPI programs are very informative and very important. So glad to be with you. So, water is a main ingredient, element of life. No water, no life. So water is such an important part of our life. But unfortunately, it's becoming more and more inaccessible to many people who had imagined 30 years ago that we'll be buying water to drink.
And it's the most expensive fluid that we any other thing.
Right. And, when you and I were in school and college, there used to be water fountains. We'll take our glass or bottle and get free water. So the concept that you now have to buy clean, hygienic water to drink is very disturbing.
Potable water was available in the tap.
Right. And
it would come to your home
good
twice
enough.
A day.
It was twice a day. So I have very fond memories of my childhood village, where I would spend summers with my grandmother. And I cannot remember a time when I saw any garbage in the village or any sanitation problems. Because at that time, I'm talking about maybe 50, 40 years ago, everything was recycled so naturally, and there were no artificial, inorganic elements like diapers or plastic or milk carton or other non-organic things that would hamper in the sanitation process. So now with the introduction of plastic in our life and cheap plastic, life has become very complicated. If you go to rural areas now, where I work primarily with women in all parts of Pakistan, sanitation, as you mentioned, water, health and sanitation is a major issue that impacts women's, first of all, daily workload. They spend hours fetching water, storing water, saving water, using water, and then they spend hours cleaning and a lot of times dealing with sick family members who became sick because of waterborne diseases. So yes, it's a very important issue that we need to do something about.
Yeah, do you think on the wash, especially with the changing climate, it has become all the more urgent?
Very urgent. I would say emergency. We have many emergencies here. This is also an emergency. and we need to create more awareness and find sustainable solutions.
Sustainable solution. What are the pathways? But because obviously we all know that the governments are reluctant to spend on the social sector, and I don't know if it is considered as social sector or not, but the amount of the budgetary support is not there. The If you see Islamabad, for hospitals, the condition, all that, but new flyovers and all that are being built, and that I'm surprised there is no pathways, there are no footpaths on any of them for the moment. So definitely that is for the cars to move on. So what do you think, how to go about it? What are the pathways to connect? One, here we are not doing it, and there you start doing it and start giving services to them.
Yeah, I think one of the problems in recent years has been that now our policies are not based on any evidence based social sciences recommendations. So, if policies are made without facts and figures and without consulting social scientists, institutes like SDPI, organizations like ours that work on the ground in the grassroots, then the priorities are mixed up. You see, we spend a lot of money in beautification of Islamabad and Lahore, but perhaps similar amount of money is not being spent on addressing the acute water shortage issues in cities and in rural areas.
Now in
So,
rural areas.
for example, I am from Chakwal. So it's the whole region, the Pothohar region, including Islamabad, where we're sitting, is arid. We don't have any irrigation system in Pothohar region.
It's not canal covered.
It's not a canal-based agriculture system. So everything is dependent on rain. And a few days ago, people were panicking because the rains were very late and the wheat crop was. So those who can afford, they will dig wells and whatnot and get water. But those who can't, they are forced to
Even
use.
the aquifer is going down.
Yes.
Water table is.
The water tables are going down. The quality of water is being affected. And linked to all this is a very fundamental problem of overpopulation. Pakistan is the fifth largest population in the world. So, the countries before us are India, China, US, Indonesia, and then Pakistan. And look at their economies and
Look at their geography.
Look at their geography,
Size.
look at their economies. So, and look at our economy and look at this more than 50% who are under 30 years of age. So, it's a very alarming situation. It's good that the current government is taking some steps, but I think that it would be better if they consulted people who work on the ground. We recently organized a workshop with WaterAid. It's an international organization, our partner. And we talked about the problem that when policies are made, some of the key stakeholders are not consulted. For example, women who spend more than 16 hours of a day fetching water, using water, saving water, they're not consulted at any level, at union council level, at tehsil level, at district level, when policies are being made related to water.
Right.
So if right people are not consulted, we won't be able to find sustainable solutions.
Yeah, we always try to emphasize the supply side that the government should do and we should do. What about the demand side? What should we do? Because obviously it's very conspicuous, and we see nowadays it's the narrative that is winning. If you establish a narrative, the things, they're all in line then. So what about the demand side? What should we do?
Demand clean water,
Narrative should be built.
Yeah.
How?
So, a narrative has to be based on reality. So we have to highlight more issues where community solutions are found. for cleaning water, for saving water. So, for example, we should highlight the stories of rainwater harvesting. Either we don't have rain or we have a lot of rain, which ends up being a flood. What happens to all that water? Do we have systems set up to save that water? Also, we should also highlight the narrative that it's not somebody's problem, it's our problem.
It's everyone's.
So we also have to be part of the solution. Yes, we identify the problems, but we also should be part of the solution. We should also build the narrative about controlling our population, because if we don't have any balance in the population, all these problems will become bigger. Obviously, there's more need for water, there's more use of water. So we need to build narratives that are solution oriented.
Last question. Just imagine a house without a bathroom. Just imagine. For one moment, okay, if you go
Yes.
home and you don't have a bathroom.
Yeah.
So the wash is one of the, I mean, it's incrementally important. So how to, I mean, bring it to the, I mean, it's in the notice, but what do you think, how to make it prevalent, that more wash, and how to improve the situation
So
on the
in
ground?
Pakistani context, if you have a place without a washroom, the men will go out, as you know.
If they
They
don't
go
have
out. They go out, and
women will go out even.
the men go out and they use the washroom everywhere they like, in front of a wall. You see
Anywhere.
all those. What would a woman do? What would a pregnant woman do if she needs to use a washroom and there's no washroom? What would a woman do in a court in Islamabad in G10, G11, where she comes from Attak and waits all day
For an appearance.
and there's no washroom for female clients? This is a reality. We recently received an application to help with that. So I think that the involvement of women in water solutions is critical. And a lot of times, look at all the data that is coming out, that the number of female students in middle drops almost
this.
50%,
One of the principal reasons for this is
because there's no washroom in middle schools.
yeah.
And as girls enter puberty and they need
separate facilities.
separate facilities and hygienic facilities
Yeah.
during school time, and they don't have it, so they start avoiding going to school. So there is clear data that another reason is that there are not enough middle schools, but another reason, we are right now working in Punjab on reducing early marriages to enhance gender equality program, and one of the activity in that is hygiene education for girls in middle and high school. So when we go there in schools in rural areas, we look at the washroom in the school, either non-existent or without water or without sanitation facilities. So we also need to imagine the problems of women and girls in this country related to hygiene issues, and we need to include women, person with disabilities in this conversation because their needs are different. So
Right. Thank you very much for sparing so much valuable time.
thank you.
And it's important that advice or sort of a thought should go across to the grassroots and to the policymaker. The bottom line is that the resource constraint is not the real, it's a social issue. Because socially we prioritize things and we put it on the back burner. This is we need awareness, we need narrative, and we need to go and tell the people that along the slogans, this is one of the demand you should know, because if there's a demand side, the supply might follow. With this we come to an end of the program. Bye for now.